All right, let's dive into a really big idea today, something that could totally change how we interact with all our digital stuff. I mean, we all carry these supercomputers in our pockets, right? But using them can feel like, well, a total chore. We're going to explore a huge shift in thinking that might just fix all that.
So, think about how you use your phone every day. Does this question kind of hit home? You want to do one simple thing, like send a little bit of crypto or share a secure note, and suddenly you're the one manually plugging things in, jumping between apps. You've basically become the switchboard operator for your own digital life. And this is what that daily grind feels like, right? You're constantly flipping from your bank app over to your messages, you're copying some flight number from an email so you can paste it into your calendar, you're logging in here, you're authenticating over there, and confirming the same exact thing 3 different times in 3 different places. We've literally become the human glue holding our own services together. And this quote right here, it just nails the central problem of modern tech. We've got AI that can write poetry, we have networks that connect the entire planet, but the simple act of getting something done is just buried in friction. The problem isn't how powerful our tools are, it's the clumsy way we're forced to use them. So, what's the fix? Well, it all starts with looking at the whole thing from a completely different angle. Instead of just piling on more complicated apps, we need to look at the simplest, most fundamental part of every single thing we do online. And here it is. Every single action, typing a text, searching for a map, telling an AI what to do, starting a payment, it all begins in the exact same spot, the keyboard, the input layer. That's the real starting point for everything we intend to do. Now, for decades, we've just treated the keyboard as this passive, kind of dumb tool for getting letters on a screen. But this new idea, it flips that on its head. What if the keyboard wasn't just for typing, but for doing? What if it became this active, secure place where what you want to do happens instantly? And that brings us to this concept of a secure execution environment, or SEE for short. It basically transforms the input layer from a simple doorway into a powerful engine. Instead of your intention getting bounced around a dozen different apps, the SEE brings the action right to you, right at the moment you think of it.
And here's where things get really, really cool. This one single shift from a passive keyboard to an active execution environment, it doesn't just solve one little problem. It takes on 4 massive and seemingly disconnected challenges in our digital world all at once.
Okay, let's start with security. You know, even these so-called secure messaging apps have this massive flaw. They encrypt your message way too late in the process. The words you type exist as plain text on your device, where your keyboard app can see it, the operating system can see it, before it ever gets encrypted by WhatsApp or Signal. So the fix is actually pretty brilliant. Keyboard-to-keyboard encryption, or K2K. By encrypting the data the second you type it, the messaging app itself only ever handles scrambled nonsense. You don't need a new app, your friends don't have to switch, and your data is safe from the very beginning. It makes top-tier security totally invisible and the default setting.
All right, problem number 2, Web3 on your phone. If you've ever tried it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The experience is fundamentally unusable. It's this confusing, frustrating maze of connecting wallets, switching apps back and forth, and signing transaction after transaction.
I mean, just look at this old flow. You open one app, you have to connect it to another, you switch back to the first, then you get booted back to the second to sign something, then back again to confirm. It is an absolute nightmare of just switching context.
And it all adds up to this. About 30 separate actions, taps, swipes, logins, just to do one simple thing like a token swap. It's really no wonder that Web3 has struggled to go mainstream. Now, let's look at the better way. With execution happening right at the input layer, the whole process is different. You just type what you want to do, like swap 1 ETH for USDC, into any text box, the keyboard puts the plan together, you check it, and you hit confirm once. And the result? We go from 30 actions down to 3. That is a 90% drop in friction. It completely changes Web3 from this clunky place you have to go to into a native power you can use from anywhere. Now for our third problem. All these new AI agents. They're incredibly powerful for sure, but the way they're built right now is pretty insecure. We often end up giving them the keys to the kingdom, full access to our emails, our messages, our entire digital lives. And that creates a massive security and privacy risk. But by moving these AI agents to the input layer, you get the control back. The keyboard becomes a secure gatekeeper. The AI only sees the specific bit of info you give it for one specific task. All your sensitive data stays on your device, and you can summon these powerful tools from inside any app just by typing. And finally, the fourth big problem is all about control. Right now, companies like Apple and Google basically own digital interaction because they control the app stores. Your ability to do things is trapped inside their walled gardens, which kills interoperability and locks all of us in.
The input layer solution here is to create what are called portable execution pipelines. What that means is the workflow itself is no longer stuck inside one app. The instructions for what you want to do are encoded and travel with you through your keyboard, letting you execute these complex tasks across different apps and platforms like it's no big deal.
So when you put this all together, you start to see that this is way more than just a fancy new keyboard. It's a whole new layer in how we use computers, one that actually sits on top of the operating system and gives the power back to us, the users.
This table lays it all out perfectly. We go from messaging that depends on the app to encryption that happens at input. We go from a Web3 maze to simple inline execution. From separate AI apps to AI that's just embedded everywhere. And from manually copying and pasting to automated portable workflows. And when you look at it this way, it really feels like the next logical step in how we've always interacted with computers. We went from the command line to the graphical user interface to mobile apps. The next, almost inevitable step is the input layer, the place where our intent instantly becomes execution.
And that is the ultimate takeaway here. This isn't just a tech story. It's about a fundamental shift in power. It's about taking control away from the giant platforms and the app ecosystems and putting it right back where it always should have been, with you.
So we'll end with this thought. Maybe the future of technology isn't about downloading yet another app. Maybe it's about finally closing the gap between what we want to do and actually doing it. A future with fewer steps, that's secure by default, where things happen at the speed of thought. The only question is, are we ready for it? Thanks for tuning in.